John always believed he had it all. After 8 years of marriage to Emily, he saw his life as something many would envy. Together, they built a stable home, shared laughter, and supported each other through life's ups and downs. To John, Emily was not only his wife but his best friend, someone he could trust without question. John worked hard, dedicating long hours to his job to ensure that they had everything they needed. He took pride in being the provider, knowing his efforts allowed them a comfortable life. Emily, meanwhile, immersed herself in the local social scene. Recently, she had begun volunteering for the town's football club, which made John proud. It gave her a sense of purpose and allowed her to connect with new people in the community. John admired how involved she was, believing that her friendly nature was simply part of her charm. Their life felt like a well-oiled machine. Weekends were filled with casual gatherings, quiet dinners, and time spent with friends. John had no reason to doubt Emily's loyalty. In his eyes, they had built something strong, something unbreakable. When Emily began spending more time at the football club, John didn't think twice about it. She was doing something she loved, and he wanted her to be happy. Trusting her fully, he never questioned the late meetings or the extra hours she spent there. After all, he had always been confident in their marriage. To John, his world was perfect. And Emily, the center of that world, was someone he trusted completely. But sometimes, perfection hides cracks that only reveal themselves too late. It all started with the little things John never thought twice about before. Emily's phone would buzz late at night, and she'd step away to answer with a hushed tone. When he'd ask her who it was, she'd give casual, vague responses like, "Oh, just one of the girls from the club," or, "It's about the next game." At first, John shrugged it off. He trusted her. Why wouldn't he? But soon, the distance between them grew more noticeable. Emily became less affectionate, more distracted. She would come home from the football club exhausted but energized in a strange way, always with an excuse to avoid intimacy. Late-night texts became more frequent, and the once open, easy conversations between them became strained and shallow. John could feel it, something had shifted. His gut told him something was wrong, but he pushed the thought away, trying to ignore the gnawing suspicion that had taken root. It wasn't until one evening, when Emily left her phone unattended on the kitchen counter, that John's resolve finally broke. The screen lit up with a name he didn't recognize, Ryan. A famous local football player, one that everyone in town knew. John's heart sank. The once dull ache of doubt flared into panic, but he forced himself to stay calm. With trembling hands, he scrolled through her messages, and there it was, undeniable proof. Flirty texts, secretive plans to meet after practices, and worse, declarations of affection that Emily had long stopped sharing with him. Each word cut him deeper than the last. John sat in silence, staring at the screen, his world crashing down around him. The woman he had loved and trusted for 8 years was betraying him. She had chosen someone else, a man they both knew, a public figure, someone celebrated in the community. At first, the pain was overwhelming. The betrayal felt like a punch to the gut, knocking the air out of him. He wanted to confront her immediately, to scream, to demand answers. But something inside him held back. A colder, sharper part of him started to take over. Confronting her now wouldn't be enough. He needed more than just answers. He needed justice. John decided then and there that Emily wasn't going to walk away from this without facing consequences. She had humiliated him behind his back, and now, he would turn the tables. He would make sure everyone knew who she truly was. Quietly, John began to plan his revenge. John knew that subtlety wouldn't suffice. The betrayal was too profound, and he needed a way to make sure everyone saw the truth. After days of sleepless nights and countless hours of planning, he settled on a plan that would not only expose Emily's infidelity but also ensure that the community witnessed her downfall. He observed the local football team closely, noting that the upcoming match was more than just a game, it was a major event in the town, drawing in friends, family, and countless spectators. The star player, Ryan, was not only Emily's lover but also a beloved figure in the community. This was the perfect stage for his revenge. John decided that the match day would be the ideal moment to strike. He meticulously arranged every detail to ensure his plan would unfold seamlessly. First, he contacted a local printing shop under the guise of needing a large banner for a community event. He provided them with the explosive message he had crafted, ensuring it was both bold and undeniable: Emily's betrayal exposed. The words were clear, the colors striking, designed to grab attention instantly. He chose a banner size that would be visible from anywhere in the stadium, ensuring that no one would miss the message. John also coordinated with a few trusted friends to help him place the banner in a strategic location where it would be unfurled at the perfect moment. Timing was everything. He needed to strike when the crowd's attention was at its peak. As the match day approached, John felt a mix of anxiety and determination. He rehearsed the moment in his mind, visualizing the crowd's reaction and the impact it would have on Emily and Ryan. Every step of the plan was calculated to maximize the humiliation, from the precise timing of the reveal to the placement of the banner where it would be most visible. On the day of the match, John arrived early, blending in with the other spectators. The stadium was buzzing with excitement, the energy palpable as fans cheered for their team. Emily was there too, surrounded by friends and family, completely unaware of what was about to unfold. Ryan played with his usual flair, the crowd's adoration evident in every move he made on the field. John took his seat, heart pounding, as the game progressed towards its climax. He glanced around, ensuring that everything was in place. As the final minutes approached, he knew the moment had come. With a deep breath, he signaled his friends, and together they unfurled the banner high above the stands. The message was clear for everyone to see: Emily's betrayal exposed. Gasps rippled through the crowd as eyes turned towards the banner. Whispers spread like wildfire, and the atmosphere shifted from joyous to tense in an instant. Emily's face drained of color as she realized what was happening, her eyes darting across the stadium in horror. Ryan, caught off guard, tried to maintain his composure, but the damage was done. The public humiliation was immediate and complete. John watched from his seat, a sense of grim satisfaction washing over him. His meticulously crafted plan had worked perfectly. The moment was irreversible, and as the crowd began to react, he knew there was no turning back. The stage was set for the final act of his revenge. The day had finally arrived. John sat among the crowd, his heart beating steadily, though his mind raced with anticipation. The stadium was filled to capacity, the energy electric as the home team prepared for one of the most important matches of the season. Everywhere around him, families, friends, and fans cheered, oblivious to the storm that was about to strike. John, however, remained calm. His eyes followed Emily, who sat a few rows ahead with their friends and family, smiling and laughing, completely unaware of the plan about to unfold. Beside her, Ryan was already on the field, leading his team with the confidence of a man adored by the town. His every move was met with applause, his status as a local hero fully intact, for now. As the game progressed, the tension in the air grew. The score was tight, and the crowd was on edge, fully engrossed in the action on the field. John, though outwardly composed, was waiting for the perfect moment. He glanced at the large banner, carefully hidden and ready to be unfurled. He had coordinated everything down to the second. Then, in the final minutes of the game, as the home team scored a crucial goal, the stadium erupted into wild cheers. The timing was perfect. With a nod to his friends, John gave the signal. Slowly, the massive banner was unfurled, and within moments, it hung proudly above the stands for all to see. The bold letters, larger than life, screamed out the message that would forever change the lives of those involved. Emily, you cheated with Ryan. Everyone knows now. For a split second, there was silence. The crowd's cheers died down as eyes began to turn toward the banner, confusion rippling through the stands. Then, like a wave crashing against the shore, gasps and murmurs spread. People started pointing, whispering, their faces contorted in shock and disbelief. Emily's smile vanished in an instant. Her face turned pale as she looked up, her eyes locking onto the banner with growing horror. She froze, unable to comprehend what was happening, as the words stared back at her, brutally exposing her betrayal for everyone to see. The weight of the public humiliation hit her like a freight train. Ryan, still on the field, saw the crowd's reaction before he saw the banner. But when he turned his head and read the message, his confident posture collapsed. He stood still, as if rooted to the ground, the cheers of the crowd turning to murmurs of disapproval and disgust. His teammates glanced at him, confused and embarrassed, unsure how to react. The entire stadium had been transformed in seconds, the excitement of the game overshadowed by the scandal now unfolding. John watched it all with quiet satisfaction. He had planned this moment carefully, and now, it was playing out exactly as he had envisioned. The once beloved football star and the woman he had trusted with his heart were now the subjects of public disgrace. The humiliation was total, undeniable, and unforgettable. As the whispers turned into open conversations and phones began to record the scene, chaos broke out. Emily, now fully realizing the extent of what had just happened, leapt from her seat, tears streaming down her face. She tried to run, pushing through the crowd in a desperate attempt to escape the burning eyes of judgment, but there was nowhere to hide. Everyone had seen the truth. Ryan, too, was trapped in the moment. His reputation, carefully built over years, crumbled in an instant. His teammates avoided his gaze, the fans no longer cheering his name. The match had become an afterthought, the real spectacle was the unraveling of his life on and off the field. John remained seated, watching the fallout unfold around him. The chaos, the whispers, the stunned faces, it was exactly what he had wanted. Emily and Ryan had destroyed his life behind closed doors, and now, he had destroyed theirs in front of the entire town. His revenge was not just personal, it was a spectacle. As he stood up to leave, John felt no need to stay and watch any longer. The damage was done. The betrayal that had once ripped him apart was now exposed for all to see. Emily and Ryan would be left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives, while he walked away, free from the weight of their deceit. With his head held high, John exited the stadium, leaving behind the chaos he had created, knowing he had finally reclaimed control of his life. In the days following the explosive revelation at the football game, the town buzzed with gossip. John had not only exposed Emily and Ryan's betrayal, but he had also positioned himself as the wronged husband who had handled the situation with precision and grace. Wherever he went, people approached him, not with pity, but with respect. John made the decision to file for divorce soon after the incident. There was no need for confrontations or lengthy discussions, the truth had been laid bare for everyone to see. Emily, devastated and humiliated, tried to reach out to John, but her pleas fell on deaf ears. She had made her choices, and now, she would have to live with the consequences. The community that once held her in high regard now looked at her with scorn, her name forever tainted by the scandal. Ryan's reputation also crumbled in the aftermath. His teammates distanced themselves, sponsors withdrew, and the adoring fans who had once chanted his name now whispered about his disgrace. The local football star had become the town's biggest disgrace. His fall from grace was swift and brutal, and no amount of apologies could repair the damage. John, meanwhile, found a sense of peace he hadn't expected. The weight of betrayal, which had once felt so crushing, now seemed lighter. He had taken control of his narrative and walked away from the marriage on his own terms, free from the deceit that had poisoned his life. The town rallied behind him, seeing him as the strong, resilient man who had refused to be broken by infidelity. The respect he gained wasn't just for his public act of revenge, but for how he had moved on with quiet dignity. As the weeks passed, John began to rebuild his life. He returned to his routines, but now with a renewed sense of purpose and clarity. No longer trapped in a marriage filled with lies, he felt a sense of freedom he hadn't felt in years. Friends and colleagues remarked on how much stronger he seemed, more confident, more focused. His experience had taught him valuable lessons about trust, betrayal, and the importance of standing up for oneself. Emily and Ryan became the town's favorite topic of gossip. Their fall from grace was swift, and the consequences of their actions followed them wherever they went. Emily, once the social butterfly, found herself isolated, the subject of judgmental stares and whispered conversations. Ryan's career never recovered, and the pair became infamous, not for their relationship, but for the scandal they had caused. They had hoped to keep their affair a secret, but John had ensured that it would forever be a public spectacle. For John, the ordeal had been painful, but it had also been a turning point. He no longer looked back with anger or bitterness. Instead, he saw the betrayal as a moment of clarity, a breaking point that allowed him to reclaim his life. He had emerged from the experience stronger and wiser, unburdened by the lies that had once surrounded him. In quiet moments of reflection, John thought about the journey he had been through, the trust, the heartbreak, the revenge, and the eventual peace. Though he had never wanted to be the victim of such betrayal, he took pride in how he had handled it. He hadn't let Emily's actions define him or break him. Instead, he had found a way to come out victorious, free from the deceit that had once clouded his life. As he looked toward the future, John knew one thing for sure: the man he was now, stronger, wiser, and free, was far better than the man who had once been blinded by trust. If you enjoyed this story of betrayal and revenge, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Only Stories About Men channel for more impactful stories like this one. Here, you'll always find real stories of overcoming, justice, and thrilling twists. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss the next videos, and share this story with your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.